When disaster strikes, access to clean water becomes a matter of life and death. The key to emergency water preparation before shit hits the fan is not just about storing bottles. It's about creating a sustainable, reliable water supply that can withstand any crisis. From purification methods to backup sources, the right preparation could mean the difference between survival and struggle. Are you ready for what's ahead? When disaster strikes, the first thing you'll miss isn't Wi-Fi, it's clean water. If the taps run dry, panic sets in. But don't worry, your home is a treasure chest of hidden water sources that you might have never thought about. Let's dive into these secret reserves and show you how to make the most of them when you're in a pinch. Okay, let's talk about toilets. No, not the bowl, the toilet tank. The water here is separate from the waste and actually clean. Think of it as your emergency backup plan, with about 2 to 3 gallons of drinkable water once purified. Sure, it may not win any beauty contests, but in an emergency, this hidden gem can help with drinking, cooking, or even washing hands. Just make sure to treat the water before drinking it. It's short term, but when the tap runs dry, it's the kind of ew you can embrace for survival. Your water heater is like the unsung hero of your home. Most heaters store around 40 to 50 gallons of water, just waiting to be used in a crisis. Here's how to tap into it. Locate the drain valve at the bottom of the heater. You may need to be careful because the water can be hot, especially if the heater was recently used. Also, depending on how old your water heater is, the water could have some sediment, but no worries, you can filter that out. Humidity isn't just uncomfortable, it can be your next water supply. If you have a dehumidifier in a humid climate, it collects moisture from the air and converts it into water. Over time, you could gather a few gallons of water from your dehumidifier, which can be used for washing, flushing toilets, or even watering plants. The catch? It's not drinkable in its raw form, but if you're in a bind, you can boil or use chemicals to purify it. Who knew your dehumidifier could double as a mini water factory? If you're lucky enough to live in a rain-prone area, rainwater collection systems are your secret weapon. These systems collect rain from your roof and store it in large containers for later use. Not only does this provide a sustainable and consistent water source, but it's also eco-friendly. If you've got one of these set up, you're already ahead of the game. Just be sure to clean the system regularly to prevent contamination from debris or bird droppings. This water is gold in a disaster. Just be sure to purify it before drinking. Even when the water supply is cut off, there's still water trapped inside your home's pipes. Sure, it's not much, but every drop counts. To get to it, turn on the lowest faucet in your home and place a container underneath. Then go upstairs and turn on a higher faucet. The pressure will allow the water to flow into the lower faucet, which you can catch. If you've got a hose, you can even direct the water into a larger container. It's not a big haul, but in a waterless emergency, you could make all the difference. We know, swimming pools and hot tubs look like they're brimming with water, but before you dive in, there's a catch. They're full of bacteria, chemicals, and contaminants. If you absolutely must use it, treat it as a last resort. Sure, you've got a huge water supply at your disposal, but there's no guarantee that it's safe to drink. Before consuming pool or hot tub water, you'll need to boil, filter, and disinfect it properly. That being said, it's not just drinking water. You can also use it for flushing toilets or washing things. When you're facing an emergency and the water sources around you are questionable, treating the water properly becomes crucial. With a few simple methods, you can turn potentially dangerous water into something safe to drink. Let's dive into these methods so you can stay hydrated without the fear of harmful bugs tagging along. Let's start with the simplest and most reliable option, boiling. Boiling water is the old-school method that's effective for killing harmful microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, and parasites. The EPA recommends bringing the water to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute. This method is quick, doesn't need fancy equipment, and works like a charm. However, it does rely on having a heat source, which can be a challenge during power outages or in survival situations where fuel is limited. If you have access to heat, though, boiling is the Superman of water treatment, reliable, straightforward, and effective. For those times when you can't boil water because there's no fire in sight, solar disinfection might just save the day. This method uses sunlight to deactivate harmful microorganisms in water. The best part? It's powered by the sun, which is free. To use it, fill a clear plastic bottle with water and place it in direct sunlight for up to 48 hours. The UV rays penetrate the bottle and get to work, effectively neutralizing harmful bacteria. However, this process requires consistent sunlight, so if you're stuck in a rainy or cloudy environment, this method may not be the safest option. But if you have the sun on your side, it's a great backup plan. When time is of the essence, chemical disinfection is often the go-to method. Two common substances, bleach and iodine tincture, can work wonders to make your water drinkable again. Both are easy to store and most people already have them in their homes. If you've got iodine tincture in your first aid kit, it can also be used to disinfect water. For 1 liter of water, add 5 drops of 2% iodine tincture. Wait for 30 minutes and your water will be much safer to drink. While iodine treatment is fast and effective, it can leave behind a bit of a taste, so it's best to use it only when other methods are unavailable. If you want to avoid chemicals, a UV water purifier is a fantastic option. These portable devices use ultraviolet light to kill microorganisms without needing boiling or chemical treatments. Just fill the device with water, activate the UV light, and in 1 to 3 minutes, your water is purified. UV treatment is incredibly effective, especially for clear water. But if the water is murky, you may need to filter out larger particles first. The downside? These devices need batteries, so you'll want to have spares ready for longer emergencies. Before jumping into boiling, chemicals, or UV treatment, it's a good idea to clarify the water by removing larger particles through sedimentation. Simply let the water sit for about 30 minutes, and the heavier particles will settle at the bottom, leaving you with cleaner water on top. If you want to speed this process up, you can add a flocculant like ferrous sulfate, which helps particles clump together for faster settling. Once settled, you can filter the water using commercial filters or a DIY filter made from sand, gravel, and charcoal. But remember, this only clarifies the water. It doesn't kill germs, so always follow up with boiling, chemicals, or UV. For the ultimate purification, look no further than distillation. This method involves boiling the water and capturing the steam, then condensing it back into the liquid form. This removes all contaminants, bacteria, viruses, chemicals, and heavy metals. While it's the most thorough method, it's also the slowest. You'll need a heat source and the process takes time. But if you're aiming for pure, clean water, distillation is your gold standard. When preparing for an emergency, ensuring you have a reliable water supply is just as crucial as having food or shelter. Water is essential for hydration, cooking, and sanitation, so knowing how to store it properly can make all the difference when the tap runs dry. The CDC recommends storing at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for drinking and sanitation. For a 3-day supply for one person, that's 3 gallons, and for a family of 4, you'll need about 12 gallons. However, it's always better to store more than the minimum. Ideally, aim for a 1 to 2 week supply to ensure you have enough water for drinking, cooking, and cleaning if resources become scarce or if the water supply is disrupted for an extended period. When choosing container sizes, think about your storage space and water needs. 55-gallon drums are perfect for long-term storage, while 1-gallon jugs or 5-gallon containers are better for daily use and easier to manage. Make sure to sterilize your containers before filling them. Use a bleach and water solution to clean them, then rinse them thoroughly to remove any bleach residue. How you store your water is just as important as what you store it in. To keep your water fresh, store it in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Sunlight can promote algae growth and degrade water quickly. A dark, temperature-controlled area like a basement or closet is ideal. Water can last for months, but it's a good idea to replace it periodically. You can use water preservatives that keep your stored water fresh for up to 5 years. These are available at Preparedness stores or online. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for best results. Commercially bottled water is convenient, but it has a shelf life of just 1 to 2 years. For long-term storage, 55-gallon drums or food-grade plastic containers are more cost-effective and practical. If you're feeling adventurous, DIY storage can save money and allow you to store larger quantities. Just make sure to sterilize your containers and check the water periodically. For those who want the best of both worlds, consider water storage kits that include purification tablets and filtration systems. These kits are great for anyone looking for a flexible and long-term solution. As the saying goes, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. The key to emergency water preparation before shit hits the fan is all about taking proactive steps today to ensure you're not left without water in a crisis. It's time to get prepared, stay resourceful, and secure your lifeline when you need it most.